Change your diet, change your life, change the planet.
Hi everybody, I just got back from the dentist and I had a rather interesting experience while there, and I wanted to share it with you because it reminded me of one of the tools that I employ in my life, which has become a big part of my character. It was pretty clear as soon as I sat down in the chair that the dentist was in a rush. He didn't greet me, he didn't ask me any questions, he just barked out, "I only have time for one tooth today." So I thought, okay, and I pointed out the tooth that I thought he should work on. And he said, "No, I'm not going to work on that one." And he started picking away at another tooth on the other side of my mouth. And I asked him, was it a bad cavity? What was going on? And he didn't answer me. He just started picking away. And within a minute, he's asking the dental hygienist for lidocaine, which is a painkiller. And he just injects it in there. And before it has a chance to take effect, he asks for the Dremel and the different size bits, and he starts going to town. I've had many dental visits in the course of my life, and they always wait for the painkiller to take effect before they start doing any work. They give you the injection, they walk away, they check on another patient, they come back 5 to 10 minutes later, you're numbed up, they check to see if you're numb, and they go to work. This guy went to work within a minute. He was cutting corners. He was doing a crappy job because he was in a rush, because he had to move on to the next client, and then the next client, and then the next client. And he wasn't really taking care with what he was doing. So in about 15 to 20 minutes, he finishes up the tooth and then asks me, check to see if it's smooth. I'm like, well, how do I do that? He said, bite down. So I do, and I'm like, I can't feel anything. It's starting to numb up. He said, well, how does it feel? I'm like, I can't feel anything. It's numbing up. I don't know if it's smooth. I don't know if it feels like a good bite. It's now beginning to get numb. And he didn't take that as an answer. He said, oh, it's fine, and dismissed me. And then got up and left. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, what a shoddy job. He clearly did not care about me or the experience that I had or the pain or the fear that I might have around being in a dental chair or the fact that this is a part of my being that I have to live with. This is not buying an item that's going to be disposable. This is part of my body now. And you just did a really crappy job. And this reminded me of all the times in my life and in our lives where we are in a rush and we don't do a good job. We do poor work. And it comes back to bite us later on. One of the bad habits that I noticed about myself a few years ago is that I don't like to pick things up because I'm always in a rush to do something more important. For instance, if I was making a smoothie and I dropped some kale on the floor, well, that's not important. What's important is that I finish making the smoothie, I drink it, and then I get to work doing my stuff, or I go out on a workout, or I answer emails, or I make a video. Picking up kale on the floor, not important. So the kale would stay on the floor, and maybe it would get cleaned up a day later, 2 days later, who knows. Same with clothes. I get done from a workout, and I would just throw my clothes on the floor, because that's not important. Picking up clothes, putting them away, organizing them, that's not important. That's not going to help me change the world. That's not going to get me in great shape. That's not going to help me write my book. But guess what? It is. And it does. Because if you allow your life to deteriorate around you, if you don't tend to the little things in your life, they start to accumulate and they start to take your energy. And then you'll have less energy to deal with the important things because your mind is always looking around at the chaos that's building around you. Because you're always in a rush to deal with the big things and you ignore the little things. Those little things become big things and they steal your mental energy because you're looking around saying, oh my God, look at this mess. It's too big. I can't even deal with it. I can't even deal with the chaos in my life. So you just shut down. So I created a tool for myself to make it easier to deal with those little things that don't seem important, but are going to become important when they build up to the point of overwhelm. And it looks like this. If I'm making a smoothie and I drop a piece of kale on the floor, I know it's there. I know I dropped it. I always did know that. It's not that I wasn't aware that these things were accumulating in my life. I knew it, but I ignored them because they weren't important. So now I look down at the kale on the floor and I hear the voice in my head that says, it's not important, keep doing what is, you're in a rush, this is not going to help you move your life forward, picking up that piece of kale. I hear that voice. But then I say out loud to myself, I'm the guy who picks up the kale when he drops it. I tell myself who I am. Out loud. That's who I am. I'm the guy who picks up the kale when he drops it. And then I take a deep breath, and I acknowledge that, and I accept that, and I embrace that, and then I bend over, and I pick up the kale, and I do it slowly, and I do it gently. I don't do it begrudgingly. I don't do it in a rush. I take my time, and I do it well. And even if that's not who I've been in the past, it doesn't matter. I'm creating that character now, in this moment. I'm not saying I'm going to change, I'm going to be different. No, I am the guy who does this. And then I do it. And then I say, you did the right thing. You're on the right path. And I'm slow and calm and mindful. So I've come to learn that it's how you do the little things that don't matter, that are not part of your journey, that make all the difference. How you do the big things? Sure, that's important. But it's not the most important thing. I think it's far more important to tend to the little things so that when you get to the big things, you're calm, you're clear, you're organized, and you're prepared. And this is a struggle that I have on a daily basis, to stop and to call myself out and say, wait a minute, Tim. You're the guy who does this. You're the guy who picks up the kale. You're the guy who puts away his clothes. You're the guy who puts down the toilet seat. You're the guy that puts away his toothbrush properly. You're the guy that picks up litter on a trail when you're running. That's who you are. Doesn't matter who you've been. That's who you are now. You can change your character right now in this moment. And it doesn't mean you're always going to be that person. But the more you can stop and remind yourself and call yourself out, I'm the guy or the gal who does this, the more space and clarity and peace you're going to have in your life. The next time you find yourself rushing through something to get to the next thing that's more important, stop, take a breath, and say, I'm the one who deals with this right now. That's who I am. And then do it and say, you just did the right thing. So try it out and let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. I love you. Bye.